Hello everybody! So today's the big day. We are picking up our new long-term tester to replace the BMW 3 Series we sold just a few short days ago. And you might be able to tell in the background what this probably is.
Yeah, it is the brand new, all-new 2027 Kia Telluride, and we are super excited to be picking up this very popular product for the channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, guys, so we just wrapped up our test drive. We went and signed all of the paperwork and made sure everything was good to go. And now we're out here in the daylight. So now's the time for us to do a quick walk around and show you what we got with this 2027 Telluride.
So yeah, this is the all-new 2027 Kia Telluride, and this is the EX X-Line trim level. So as far as where this is positioned in the lineup, this is going to be kind of right in the middle of the lineup. We wanted to find a trim level that represented what most people will actually end up buying with the Telluride, plus we wanted a good amount of style, and I think this EX X-Line really does both of those things very well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the X-Line is actually going to give you this fully gloss black grille. It's going to be kind of the most aggressive looking Telluride that you can get. Some of the versions will have body color through here. The X-Line is not going to be that model. You also do have blacked out Kia logos, and I think the headlights look really cool. As you can see, you have those signature amber DRLs and the projector LEDs. These even have animation as well. Now, kind of moving around, I do want to point out that the X-Line gets these pretty wild-looking 21-inch wheels. Now, we want to hear your all's thoughts down below about what you think about these wheels, but I personally think they look pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of all of Kia's geometric designs. However, I think these look pretty solid.
Yeah,
what do you think,
for sure. Yeah, and I think it goes nicely with the paint color that we selected. This is the Wolf Gray exterior. Pretty popular color in the Kia lineup, and I think it looks really good here on the Telluride. Again, we have a lot of gloss black accents as well, including around the wheel arches, even this little notch here as well.
And then, of course, we need to head around to the back of the Telluride so you can see what that looks like. I have to say, I love the way this new generation looks. It's a modern interpretation of what the Telluride has always looked like, kind of Range Rover in its overall design cue, and I think it looks really fantastic when you black out all the logos that this X-Line model has done.
And these are very modern-looking taillights. I think we definitely know where the inspiration came from, and if you're going to get inspired by something out there, this is a good thing to be inspired by a Range Rover, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's my personal preference. Now, let's go ahead and check out the inside and show you what that looks like. Of course, it's an all-new model, so you have an all-new interior. And I do want to point out here on the X-Line, you are kind of locked into the black interior color. I kind of would have preferred to have maybe a lighter color interior. I'm a big fan of color when it comes to interior selections. However, the X-Line, like I said, is locked into the black color scheme. I think it looks really good on this model, though, that we selected here. One of the cool things, though, is the fact that the seats are actually the full Syntex. So some of the versions of the Telluride kind of have like a cloth upper part and the mesh headrest. I actually really like the fact that we have the full Syntex instead of that mesh design. I think that's a little bit too bold for my design preference. Now, we went ahead and got inside out of the Arctic tundra that feels like we live in nowadays. And let's talk about some of the interior elements of the EX. So the reason why the EX trim level is so popular in the Telluride lineup is because it gives you a lot of equipment for that middle price point. This cabin is really nicely appointed, and one of the things that I really like is the fact that we have both heated seats and ventilated seats, as well as a heated steering wheel here on the EX. You're also going to have things like dual wireless phone charging pads and a ton of, console space for this new generation. So really it's giving you a lot for the money, in our opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And we're definitely going to get into all the nitty-gritty details in our upcoming coverage. You might also be wondering, what does this cost? We told you it kind of fits into the middle of the lineup, and indeed, with a price range of about $40,000 to $60,000 in the new generation, you'll find that this trim level gets right there at that $50,000 mark. As far as our specific deal, we did negotiate actually $500 off the MSRP. We negotiated that anonymously just last night, and you can kind of see those option packages right there, as well as the different equipment that comes in the X-Line.
Yeah, the wolf gray paint is $495, so I do want to point that out. We did pay extra for that, but because this vehicle is replacing our BMW 3 Series with the beautiful Brooklyn gray paint color, I think this makes it a little bit better. It's almost the exact same paint color on the outside.
And of course, we need to talk about the powertrain, because this is an important element about this all-new generation. We've switched from a standard V6 now to a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. This has 274 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Like I said, this is the new standard engine across the Telluride lineup.
Yeah, and I do want to point out, for those of you that are in the know, the sibling Hyundai Palisade actually does keep a 3.5-liter V6, so that's a big difference between this and the Palisade, is the fact that this is switched to the Turbo 4. And of course, yes, we know that the Telluride will be offered in a hybrid version, and as much as we would have loved to have that hybrid, first of all, it is later availability, so you're going to have to wait a little bit longer if you want that. And also, we wanted to buy the spec that most people will end up with, and that hybrid system is likely to cost a lot more money, so this will be the version that most people walk out of dealership showrooms with.
Yeah, absolutely. And then compared to the 3.5-liter V6 in the Palisade, you're going to be down a little bit in horsepower, but up in torque. So, will this actually be better to drive? Well, that's to be seen. We're going to be testing that out and, of course, giving you our impressions over time, starting with this right here. So this is going to be our first drive. We're getting ready to head on out, so join us with that.
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, guys, so we are behind the wheel of the all-new 2027 Kia Telluride. This time, not just for a test drive, but because we actually bought this vehicle. And I have to say, I'm very excited to, show you guys our first impressions as we drive this vehicle home from the dealership. We currently have 25 miles on it. We did take it for a test drive earlier, but other than that, this is our true first impressions of this model. And as we mentioned just a minute ago, we do have a completely different powertrain than what the previous Telluride had. So that's going to be a big question mark in this ownership, that's for sure.
So doing some initial accelerating, I think you can immediately tell the torquiness of this powertrain. Now, this is an all-new powertrain to the Telluride, but this engine is actually used in a lot of Hyundai, Genesis, and other Kia products. It's a very torque-rich engine. Of course, if you follow our channel, you might actually know that Mason and Kenzie, his wife, have purchased a Genesis GV80. And she uses that as her daily driver, and that also has this 2.5-liter turbo engine. So, like I said, it's used in a wide variety of products. We definitely like the torquey feel of that. You can really tell as soon as you roll in the throttle, you don't have to accelerate very hard to get a nice acceleration.
Yeah, I love the torque. We noticed that when we first took it for our initial test drive, we're like, oh, the torque is really nice. I will say, obviously there's some debate between this and the V6 refinement. I definitely prefer a V6 refinement as compared to a Turbo 4, but overall the torque might be enough to kind of compensate for that, in my opinion. And certainly seems pretty smooth when we start driving along here. The seats are really comfortable. Of course, we'll have very extensive impressions after we spend some more time with this, but this is our initial drive home. And on this drive, we also want to talk about things like why we bought the Telluride, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious, why would you buy a 3-row SUV? Do you need that much space? And quite frankly, the biggest answer to that is because it's extremely popular for you all. We have seen time and time again that the Telluride content you guys just really love, and a lot of you guys that watch our channel are looking to buy a Telluride, and we want to know, is it a good option for you? And that's what we hope to dive into in this ownership.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the Telluride is the single biggest product people are always asking about. Like, total random, like, strangers, when they find out what we do, they're like, do you like the Telluride? There's just a tremendous amount of interest in this product, and everybody wants to know, can Kia follow up on the success of that first generation? Because it really made waves when it came out and through its entire run. Now we're on the second generation. Oftentimes it's kind of hard to follow up on the success at the beginning, but we'll see if lightning can strike twice by really extensively testing this out.
And by tested out, we mean that we're going to be driving this Telluride quite a lot. And not just me or Drew, but also Josh. We're going to all three be driving this vehicle to give you 3 different perspectives and 3 different opportunities to come up with, different opinions on things with this Telluride, because there's a lot of opinions out there, that's for sure. And the more we drive this vehicle, the more it's going to reveal, that is for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important. We've got one of the first ones sold in the entire United States, so we're going to be able to find out things about this product before, pretty much anybody. Sometimes that is very relevant. If you followed our channel a couple years ago, actually almost to the day, we were picking up the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe, and we discovered some things about that, including some transmission issues that did eventually result in a recall, and we covered that on our channel months before that recall ever came out.
I think we do have to obviously acknowledge the fact that we are very sad to be getting rid of the BMW 3 Series. So this is the replacement to the BMW 3 Series, and quite frankly, it is bittersweet, that's for sure. The 3 Series kind of represents that, fun to drive car that we definitely appreciate, but we want to have vehicles in our long-term fleet that represent the most important part of this channel, which for a lot of you guys is the 3-row family space, and we do feel like this Telluride really represents that, and it's going to be very helpful for a lot of you guys as you're making your purchasing decisions. So we do feel that this is going to better check that box off, although I am very sad to be giving up the 3 Series, that's for sure.
Now, Telluride has consistently been one of the top performers, according to us, as well as many other outlets out there in the 3-row family SUV segment. So, of course, getting this really in-depth time to get super deep with the Telluride, I think is going to be very insightful.
Yeah, and I think we always both have liked the design of this Telluride as well. It is on the bolder side, but I think it is definitely a standout thing in the segment as compared to rivals like the Toyota Grand Highlander. I actually did have the chance to speak with the guy that designed the exterior of the Telluride. His name is Burke. I actually got a picture with him at the reveal of this product, so that's kind of cool to kind of see it out here in real life now. And quite frankly, we're just excited to live with this product, give you all the latest and greatest impressions. Obviously, this is not the best driving roads here, so we do look forward to getting this back home in Lexington so that we can fully put it through the paces. And you guys will want to be subscribed to Car Confections because we have a lot of Telluride content coming up, that is for sure. We're not only going to be talking about like long-term reliability, we'll be doing things like night reviews, comparing this to the older generation Tellurides. There is so much content planned out, so I promise you won't want to miss out. We also are going to be doing comparisons, build quality over time, so even if you're slightly interested in buying a Telluride, you'll want to subscribe down below to know how this ownership experience goes. Now, if you're at all interested in buying a Telluride or any new vehicle, we would also like to encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealership negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that down below in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's it for this Telluride purchase video. There'll be lots more content coming soon, so be sure to stay tuned. In the meantime, we're going to drive back home and enjoy our first drive and start gathering those detailed impressions that I can't wait to share with you all. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.